Justin Hall's anatomy shocked Emir, the young Ferengi female, as his lower body was accidentally exposed during their first encounter. The human diplomat had just arrived on the Ferengi homeworld, disembarking from his sleek spacecraft onto the bustling spaceport tarmac. A delegation of Ferengi officials, their large ears twitching with curiosity, greeted him. Among them stood Emir, assigned as Justin's liaison for the duration of his stay. The fate of humanity's expansion into space hung in the balance of these trade negotiations. Earth faced a dire resource crisis, desperately needing access to rare minerals found only on the Ferengi homeworld. Justin's mission was clear: secure a favorable deal or watch humanity's dreams of interstellar travel crumble. As Justin stepped forward to greet the Ferengi delegation, his clothing snagged on a protruding piece of alien technology. In an instant, part of his lower body was exposed, revealing anatomical differences that left Emir wide-eyed and flustered. The incident created an immediate tension between them, a spark of curiosity that would only grow stronger. The spaceport buzzed with activity around them. Towering skyscrapers dedicated to commerce and trade stretched towards the sky, their gleaming surfaces a testament to Ferengi technological prowess. Advanced energy production facilities and mining operations dotted the landscape, a stark reminder of the capabilities Earth so desperately needed. Justin's presence caused a stir among the Ferengi. Never before had they encountered a human, and his alien features fascinated them. Emir, in particular, found herself inexplicably drawn to the strange diplomat. His confident stance and direct gaze contrasted sharply with Ferengi norms, both intriguing and unsettling her. As the group moved towards the negotiation chambers, Justin's eyes darted from one marvel to another. The technological disparity between humans and Ferengi became increasingly apparent. Earth's resource shortage had stunted its growth, while Ferengi innovation had propelled them to new heights. The weight of his mission pressed heavily on Justin's shoulders. He knew he must navigate complex Ferengi customs and overcome cultural misunderstandings to achieve his goals. His unconventional human approaches to negotiation would both fascinate and confuse the Ferengi, especially Emir. Entering the imposing trade center, Justin steeled himself for the challenges ahead. He understood that his unique human traits, including his physiology, might be the key to swaying the Ferengi and saving Earth from its resource shortage. The fate of humanity rested on his ability to adapt, to showcase the resourcefulness and ingenuity that had brought humankind to the stars. Emir walked beside him, her mind racing. The glimpse she'd caught of Justin's anatomy had awakened feelings she'd never experienced before. Her growing attraction to the human conflicted with her Ferengi upbringing and societal expectations, creating a whirlwind of internal turmoil. As they approached the negotiation chambers, Justin took a deep breath. The talks were about to begin, and with them, a journey that would challenge everything both humans and Ferengi thought they knew about the universe and each other. In this alien environment, Justin was prepared to demonstrate humanity's adaptability and resourcefulness, traits that would both impress and unnerve the Ferengi leadership. The doors to the chamber swung open, and Justin stepped forward, ready to fight for Earth's future, and perhaps discover unexpected connections in this strange new world. The doors to the negotiation chamber closed behind Justin and Emir, leaving them in a vast, ornate room adorned with intricate golden patterns and towering statues of famous Ferengi traders. Justin's eyes swept across the room, taking in the opulent display of wealth and power. The Ferengi delegates sat around a large circular table, their large ears twitching with anticipation. As the talks began, Justin presented Earth's case with practiced diplomacy, his voice steady despite the enormity of the task before him. Hours passed in a flurry of proposals and counteroffers, each side probing for weaknesses in the other's position. By the time the session adjourned, Justin's head throbbed with the effort of keeping up with the Ferengi's rapid-fire negotiation style. Emir led Justin to his assigned quarters, a luxurious suite that seemed to sparkle with precious metals and gems. "These will be your accommodations during your stay," she explained, her eyes darting nervously to his face and then away again. "If you require anything, please don't hesitate to ask." Justin nodded his thanks, too exhausted to notice Emir's lingering gaze as she left. He collapsed onto a plush chair, his mind racing with the day's events. Just as he began to relax, a sharp beep from his communication device jolted him alert. The holographic display flickered to life, revealing the stern face of Earth's Secretary of State. "Hall, we've got a situation," the secretary said, his voice tight with tension. "The resource crisis has escalated. Major cities are facing severe energy shortages. We need that deal with the Ferengi, and we need it now. Whatever it takes. Understand?" Justin's stomach clenched. "I understand, sir. I'll do everything in my power to secure the agreement." As the hologram faded, Justin stood and paced the room, the weight of Earth's future pressing down on him. He barely slept that night, his dreams filled with images of dark cities and desperate faces. The next morning, Justin entered the Ferengi Commerce Authority's central chamber, his perseverance hardened by the night's news. Ymir stood nearby, ready to translate, but her usual composure seemed shaken. She avoided Justin's gaze, her cheeks flushing a deeper shade of orange whenever their eyes met. Grand Nagus Zek, the wizened leader of the Ferengi, sat atop an elevated throne, his shrewd eyes fixed on Justin. "So, human," Zek's voice crackled, "you come seeking our precious resources. What makes you think we'd part with them for anything less than an exorbitant price?" Justin stepped forward, his voice clear and steady. "Esteemed Nagus, I come offering not just payment, but partnership. Earth's unique position and resources could open new markets for Ferengi trade. Together, we could forge a prosperous future for both our peoples." As Justin spoke, he noticed the Ferengi leaders leaning in, their interest piqued. But when he finished outlining Earth's proposal, Zek and his advisors burst into raucous laughter. "Ridiculous," Zek cackled. "Your offer is insulting. We demand no less than triple your proposed price." Justin's heart sank, but he maintained his composure. "Perhaps," he said carefully, "a tour of your facilities would help me better understand the value of your operations. It might allow us to find a middle ground." Zek's eyes narrowed, but he nodded. "Very well. Ymir will show you our primary mining facility tomorrow. But don't expect this to change our stance, human." As they left the chamber, Ymir touched Justin's arm lightly. "That was impressive," she said softly. "I've never seen anyone stand up to the Nagus like that." Justin offered a tired smile. "Thanks, I just hope it's enough." The next day, Justin found himself descending into the depths of the Ferengi homeworld. The mining facility was a marvel of engineering, with massive drills and complex sorting machines processing rare minerals at an astounding rate. As they walked, Justin noticed the workers struggling with the heavy equipment. Suddenly, a loud crack echoed through the cavern. A support beam buckled, sending a massive piece of machinery toppling towards a group of Ferengi miners. Without thinking, Justin leapt forward. The lower gravity allowed him to move faster than he ever could on Earth. He reached the falling equipment, and with a surge of adrenaline-fueled strength, managed to hold it up long enough for the miners to scramble to safety. As Justin lowered the machinery, he became aware of the awed silence around him. Ymir stared at him, her eyes wide with admiration and something else, a spark of attraction she couldn't quite hide. Brax, the Ferengi overseer, approached Justin, his expression a mix of shock and calculation. "That was most impressive, human. Your strength could be quite valuable in our operations." Justin straightened, seeing an opportunity. "Perhaps we could discuss how humans might contribute to your mining efforts as part of our trade agreement?" Brax nodded eagerly. Yes, I'll speak to the Nagus about this immediately. A labor exchange could be very profitable indeed." As they left the mine, Ymir walked close to Justin, her voice low and intense. "I've never seen anything like that. Are all humans so strong?" Justin explained about Earth's higher gravity, watching as Ymir absorbed the information with fascination. He could see her perception of humans, and of him, shifting before his eyes. Back in his quarters, Justin received a message from Grand Nagus Zeke, inviting him to a private dinner. It was a crucial opportunity, but Justin's mind was torn. The labor exchange could secure the deal Earth desperately needed, but at what cost to the human workers? As he prepared for the dinner, Justin knew he was walking a tightrope. The fate of Earth's resource crisis, the potential for a groundbreaking partnership with the Ferengi, and the ethical implications of his decisions all greatly troubled on him. And beneath it all, he couldn't shake the memory of Emir's admiring gaze, adding a layer of personal complication to an already intricate diplomatic dance. Justin straightened his collar, took a deep breath, and stepped out to meet his destiny. The negotiation ahead would test every ounce of his skill and character, with consequences that would ripple across two worlds. Justin stepped into the opulent dining hall, his eyes widening at the sheer display of wealth. The walls gleamed with precious metals, and gemstones sparkled from every surface. Grand Nagus Zek sat at the head of a long table, his wrinkled face lit by the soft glow of floating orbs. "Ah, the human arrives," Zek cackled, gesturing to an empty seat. "Come, sit. Let us discuss business over dinner." As Justin took his place, servants appeared with plates of writhing insects and goblets filled with a thick blue liquid. He suppressed a grimace, recalling his cultural briefings. With a steady hand, he picked up a wriggling grub and popped it into his mouth, maintaining eye contact with Zek as he chewed. The Nagus's eyes widened with surprise and approval. "You've done your homework, human. Most off-worlders can't stomach gree-worms." Justin swallowed, forcing a smile. "When in Rome, Grand Nagus, or should I say, when on Ferenginar." Zek let out a bark of laughter. "You're full of surprises, Hall. Now let's talk about this mining proposal of yours." As the meal progressed, Justin carefully laid out his modified plan. "A limited human presence in your mines, coupled with our advanced drilling technology. We increase your efficiency, you get your profit, and Earth gets the resources it needs. Everyone wins." Zek leaned forward, his large ears twitching with interest. "And what of the Ferengi workers you'd be replacing?" "Not replacing," Justin corrected smoothly. "Supplementing. Our technology would allow you to expand operations, creating new jobs for Ferengi supervisors and technicians." The Nagus's eyes gleamed with the promise of increased profits. He opened his mouth to respond when the doors to the dining hall burst open. A group of Ferengi strode in, led by a scowling figure Justin recognized from his briefings. Diamond Bach, a notoriously unscrupulous businessman. "What is the meaning of this?" Zek demanded, rising from his seat. Bach pointed an accusing finger at Justin. "This human seeks to undermine our very way of life. He manipulates our customs, corrupts our workers with talk of efficiency and fair labor practices. I demand he be expelled from Ferenginar immediately." The room erupted into chaos. Ferengi shouted over one another, some supporting Bach's accusations, others defending the potential for profit in Justin's proposal. Justin's mind raced. He needed to act fast or watch months of preparation crumble. His eyes fell on an ornate gong in the corner of the room, and a memory from his cultural studies flashed through his mind. He strode to the gong and struck it hard. The resonant tone cut through the din, silencing the room. "I invoke the right of contribution," Justin declared, his voice steady despite his pounding heart. "I challenge Diamond Bach to a contest of business acumen. The winner will have the right to dictate the terms of the trade agreement between Earth and Ferenginar." A hush fell over the assembled Ferengi. Zek's face split into a wide grin. "Oh, this is delicious. A human challenging one of our most resourceful businessmen." He emphasized the word with a knowing smirk. "I accept your invocation. The challenge will take place tomorrow on the Ferengi Stock Exchange. May the craftiest trader win." As the Ferengi filed out, discussing the upcoming spectacle in excited tones, Justin felt a light touch on his arm. He turned to find Emir, her orange skin flushed with concern. "That was either very brave or very foolish," she whispered. "Bach is known for his underhanded tactics. He never plays fair." Justin nodded grimly. "I had a feeling, but it was the only way to salvage the negotiations. I'll just have to outsmart him." Emir glanced around nervously before leaning in closer. "I'll do what I can to help. Just be careful. Bach has powerful friends." The next day, Justin stood before a massive holographic display of the Ferengi Stock Exchange. A crowd of spectators filled the trading floor, their large ears twitching with anticipation. Bach stood opposite him, a smug grin on his face. Zek's voice boomed through the chamber. "Let the challenge begin!" Justin's fingers flew over the control panel as he navigated the complex web of Ferengi finances. He spotted patterns in the data that others missed, making bold moves that initially drew gasps from the crowd, but soon had them murmuring with admiration. Bach's expression darkened as he watched his lead shrink. Justin caught a flicker of movement in the corner of his eye, Bach's hand darting to a hidden device in his sleeve. Suddenly, Justin's display flickered. Error messages flashed across the screen as his carefully planned trades began to unravel. "Sabotage!" a voice cried out. Emir pushed through the crowd, holding up a datapad. "I've detected unauthorized access to the simulation system. Someone is manipulating the data." All eyes turned to Bach, who sputtered indignantly. "Lies! The human must have—" But Emir was already presenting her evidence to Zek. The Grand Nagus's face darkened as he examined the data. "Diamond Bach!" Zek's voice cut through the murmurs of the crowd. "You have violated the sacred rules of acquisition. Your challenge is forfeit. The human, Justin Hall, is declared the winner." The chamber erupted in a mix of cheers and outraged shouts. Justin stood stunned, scarcely believing the turn of events. Zek approached him, a calculating look in his eyes. "Well played, human. You've demonstrated not only your business acumen, but also your integrity. Perhaps there is more to learn from your people than we initially thought." In the days that followed, Justin found himself at the center of a whirlwind of negotiations and media attention. The trade agreement he brokered provided Earth with the resources it desperately needed while opening new avenues for Ferengi-human cooperation. As he prepared for his extended stay on Ferenginar to oversee the implementation of the agreement, Justin couldn't help but feel a mix of excitement and trepidation. He had won a significant victory, but he knew that navigating the complex world of Ferengi politics and business would be an ongoing challenge. Emir appeared at his side as he watched a transport ship unload the first shipment of human mining equipment. "You've started something here," she said softly. "Something that could change both our worlds." Justin nodded, his gaze fixed on the horizon where Ferengi skyscrapers pierced the hazy sky. "Change is never easy," he replied, "but sometimes it's necessary." As they stood together, watching the fruits of their unexpected partnership take shape, neither Justin nor Emir could shake the feeling that this was just the beginning of a much larger story, one that would continue to unfold in ways they could scarcely imagine. As Justin watched the bustling activity around him, he couldn't help but feel a sense of accomplishment tinged with trepidation. The trade agreement was just the beginning. Now came the real challenge of implementing it. Weeks turned into months as Justin settled into his role as Earth's primary liaison on Ferenginar. His days were filled with endless meetings, inspections, and negotiations. Today, he found himself descending into the depths of a newly established joint mining operation, the air thick with the scent of ozone and freshly excavated minerals. As the lift reached the bottom of the shaft, Justin stepped out onto the rough-hewn cavern floor. The low gravity of Ferenginar still caught him off guard sometimes, making his movements feel unnaturally light and bouncy. He made his way through the maze of machinery, nodding to the mixed crews of humans and Ferengi working side by side. "Mr. Hall!" a gruff voice called out. Justin turned to see Marcus, a seasoned miner from Earth, striding towards him. The man's weathered face was streaked with sweat and grime, but his eyes were sharp and alert. "Marcus," Justin greeted him warmly, "how are things progressing down here?" Marcus glanced around before leaning in closer. "That's what I wanted to talk to you about, sir. There's been some, friction between our people and the Ferengi workers." Justin's brow furrowed. What kind of friction? As they walked through the tunnels, Marcus explained the growing tensions. Human workers found Ferengi practices exploitative, balking at the long hours and lack of safety measures. The Ferengi, in turn, saw the humans as inefficient and overly cautious. "Yesterday we had a near miss when a Ferengi foreman ordered a human to work without proper support beams," Marcus said, his voice low. "The man refused, and things got heated. If this keeps up, the whole program could fall apart." Justin's mind raced as he considered the implications. The resource exchange was vital for Earth's needs, but not at the cost of worker safety or dignity. He needed to find a way to bridge this cultural divide. As they emerged from the tunnels into the main processing area, Justin's eyes fell on a group of Ferengi workers huddled around a malfunctioning piece of equipment. An idea began to form. "Marcus," he said, turning to the miner, "I think I might have a solution, but I'm going to need your help." Over the next few weeks, Justin threw himself into organizing a series of cultural exchange workshops. He enlisted Marcus and other respected workers from both species to lead hands-on demonstrations showcasing their unique strengths and approaches. In one session, human miners demonstrated their physical endurance, effortlessly carrying heavy loads that left the Ferengi workers impressed. In another, a Ferengi negotiator role-played a complex mineral sale, leaving the humans in awe of their tactical thinking and ability to spot hidden value. Slowly but surely, Justin began to see a change. Human workers started to appreciate the Ferengi's keen business sense, while the Ferengi found themselves admiring the humans' innovative problem-solving skills. During one particularly successful workshop, Justin stood back and watched as a mixed team of humans and Ferengi tackled a simulated cave-in scenario. The humans' quick thinking and physical strength combined seamlessly with the Ferengi's risk assessment and resource management skills. As the team emerged victorious, cheers and laughter filled the cavern. "You've started something remarkable here," a familiar voice said beside him. Justin turned to see Ymir, her orange skin glowing in the artificial light of the cavern. "It's a start," Justin agreed, unable to keep the smile from his face. "But there's still a long way to go." Ymir nodded, her eyes scanning the room. "You know, watching all this has got me thinking. The way humans treat each other, regardless of gender, it's so different from our traditions." Justin listened intently as Ymir spoke about her growing desire to see more opportunities for female Ferengi in business and politics. Her passion was evident, and he found himself admiring her courage in questioning long-held beliefs. As they made their way back to the surface, Justin's communicator chirped. A message from Grand Nagus Zek's office flashed across the screen, requesting his presence for an urgent meeting. "Duty calls," Justin sighed, turning to Ymir. "But let's continue this conversation later. I think you might be on to something important." Ymir nodded, a determined glint in her eye. "I'll hold you to that, Justin Hall." As he boarded the transport to the Grand Nagus's tower, Justin couldn't shake the feeling that his actions were setting in motion changes far beyond the scope of the original trade agreement. The future of human-Ferengi relations, and perhaps Ferengi society itself, hung in the balance. The transport zipped through the hazy Ferengi skyline, weaving between towering spires of commerce and habitation. Justin used the time to gather his thoughts, knowing that every word, every gesture in his meeting with Zek could have far-reaching consequences. As he approached the ornate doors of Zek's private chamber, Justin noticed a commotion in the antechamber. A group of young Ferengi, dressed in what appeared to be human-inspired fashion, were arguing with the guards. Their pointed ears were adorned with Earth-style piercings, and several wore T-shirts emblazoned with human logos and slogans. "What's going on here?" Justin asked, approaching the group. One of the young Ferengi turned to him, eyes widening in recognition. "It's him, the human ambassador!" He pushed forward, nearly stumbling in his excitement. "Sir, we just want to meet the Grand Nagus, to tell him how much we admire human culture and how it's changing our world for the better." Justin blinked, taken aback by the fervor in the young Ferengi's voice. Before he could respond, the doors to Zek's chamber swung open. "Ah, the human arrives," Zek's gravelly voice echoed through the room. His eyes narrowed as he took in the scene. "And it seems he's brought some admirers." Justin quickly stepped forward, attempting to defuse the situation. "Grand Nagus, my apologies for the disturbance. These young Ferengi were just expressing their interest in cultural exchange." Zek's wrinkled face twisted into a wry smile. "Cultural exchange indeed. Come in, Hall. We have much to discuss." As the doors closed behind them, Justin couldn't help but feel that he had just witnessed a glimpse of a changing Ferenginar, one that both excited and unnerved him. Zek settled into his ornate chair, fixing Justin with a piercing gaze. "Your influence grows, human, not just in our minds, but in our very culture." He gestured to a holographic display, showing images of Earth-themed entertainment venues and Ferengi youth adopting human fashions. Some see opportunity in this trend. Others see threat. Justin listened intently as Zek outlined the growing divide within Ferengi society. The conservative faction, led by Daemon Bach, was gaining support among those who feared the erosion of traditional Ferengi values. "And what do you see, Grand Nagus?" Justin asked carefully. Zek's eyes glittered with calculated interest. "I see potential, Hall. Potential for profit beyond our wildest dreams." He leaned forward, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. "I'm prepared to expand our trade agreement. More rare minerals for Earth, in exchange for human technological innovations. What say you?" Justin's mind raced. The offer was incredible, a boon for Earth's resource-starved industries. But the ethical implications of further enmeshing their societies gave him pause. As he opened his mouth to respond, a commotion erupted outside the chamber. Angry voices rose in volume, followed by the sound of breaking glass. Zek's guards burst into the room, faces grim. "Grand Nagus, Daemon Bach has organized a protest outside the tower. They're demanding the expulsion of all humans from Ferenginar." Justin's heart sank as he realized the true complexity of the situation he now faced. His actions had set in motion forces that threatened to tear Ferengi society apart. As he looked at Zek's expectant face, he knew his next words would shape the future of both their worlds. The weight of responsibility settled heavily on Justin's shoulders as he prepared to navigate the most challenging diplomatic waters of his career. Outside, the chants of protesters grew louder, a stark reminder of the delicate balance he must maintain between progress and preservation, between Earth's needs and Ferenginar's traditions. Justin took a deep breath, his mind racing as he considered Zek's offer and the chaos unfolding outside. Before he could respond, his communicator buzzed urgently. It was Marcus. "Mr. Hall, you need to see this immediately." The miner's voice crackled through the device, tinged with excitement and disbelief. Justin glanced at Zek, who nodded his permission. "Go ahead, Marcus. What's happened?" "We found something, sir. Something big. A new mineral deposit unlike anything we've ever seen before. The readings are off the charts." The Grand Nagus leaned forward, his interest piqued. Justin's heart raced as he processed the implications. "I'm on my way, Marcus. Secure the site and don't breathe a word of this to anyone else." Turning to Zek, Justin spoke carefully. "Grand Nagus, it seems we have a new development that could change everything. I propose we table our discussion until I can investigate further." Zek's eyes narrowed, but he nodded. "Very well, human, but I expect a full report on whatever your people have discovered." As Justin rushed from the tower, the protesters' chants faded into the background. His mind was consumed by the potential of Marcus's discovery. If it was as significant as it seemed, it could reshape the entire dynamic between Earth and Ferenginar. Hours later, Justin stood at the entrance of a newly excavated tunnel, staring in awe at the glowing veins of an iridescent blue mineral that pulsed with an otherworldly energy. Marcus and a team of human and Ferengi miners huddled around various scanning devices, their faces a mix of excitement and apprehension. "We're calling it stellarium," Marcus explained, handing Justin a small sample. The mineral felt warm to the touch, humming with potential. "Initial tests show it has properties that could revolutionize space travel and energy production. It's like nothing we've ever encountered." Justin's mind reeled as he considered the implications. "This changes everything, Marcus. We need to set up a secure research facility immediately, and we need to keep this quiet until we understand exactly what we're dealing with." But secrecy proved impossible. Within days, news of Stellarium's discovery spread like wildfire through both human and Ferengi channels. Justin found himself at the center of a political and economic maelstrom as various factions vied for control of the precious resource. Earth's government, sensing the mineral's potential to solve their energy crisis, pressured Justin to secure exclusive mining rights. Meanwhile, Ferengi business leaders, led by the ever-opportunistic Daemon Bach, saw Stellarium as the ultimate profit opportunity. Justin paced in his office, the weight of competing interests bearing down on him. He knew that any misstep could shatter the fragile peace between humans and Ferengi. As he contemplated his next move, Ymir entered, her face etched with concern. "The situation is deteriorating rapidly," she reported. Bach is rallying support among conservative Ferengi, claiming that humans are trying to steal our world's resources. And there are rumors of human corporations attempting to bypass official channels to get their hands on stellarium. Justin nodded, a plan forming in his mind. We need to find a middle ground, something that benefits both species equally. He turned to Ymir, his eyes bright with drive. What if we propose a joint human-Ferengi research initiative, a collaborative effort to study stellarium's properties and potential applications? Ymir considered the idea, her sharp mind analyzing its potential. It could work. It would prevent any one group from monopolizing the resource and could foster further cooperation between our species. With Ymir's support, Justin presented his proposal to Grand Nagus Zek. The old Ferengi listened intently, his wrinkled face inscrutable. A joint research initiative, you say? Zek mused, tapping his fingers together. It's an interesting proposition, Hall. Risky, but with potential for long-term profit. Very well, I'll agree to it. For now. With Zek's cautious approval, Justin and Ymir threw themselves into establishing the joint research team. They worked tirelessly to select the brightest minds from both species, creating a diverse group of scientists and engineers. As they collaborated, Justin found himself drawn more and more to Ymir. Her intelligence, persistence, and subtle humor captivated him. He noticed the way her hand would occasionally brush against his as they pored over plans, sending a jolt of electricity through his body. But he also recognized the cultural and physiological barriers that stood between them, creating a tension that simmered beneath their professional relationship. While Justin and Ymir focused on the research initiative, darker forces were at work. Diamond Bach, still smarting from his previous failures, secretly reached out to a group of human corporate executives who shared his desire for exclusive access to stellarium. In a dimly lit back room of a Ferengi bar, Bach met with the humans, his pointed teeth gleaming in a predatory smile. Gentlemen, we have a common enemy in Justin Hall and his notion of shared resources. I propose an alliance. Together, we can ensure that stellarium's true potential is realized and properly monetized. The human executives, their eyes glinting with greed, readily agreed. Thus began a shadow campaign to undermine the joint research initiative and discredit Justin Hall. As the first stellarium samples were extracted and brought to the newly constructed research facility, tensions reached a fever pitch. Justin supervised the initial tests personally, keenly aware of the high stakes involved. The research team gathered around a containment chamber housing a small stellarium sample. As they initiated the first energy transfer test, the mineral began to glow brighter and brighter. Suddenly, alarms blared as energy readings spiked off the charts. "Shut it down!" Justin yelled, but it was too late. A massive surge of energy erupted from the chamber, overloading the facility's systems and cascading through the power grid of the Ferengi capital city. As darkness fell over the city, Justin stared out the window at the chaos below, his heart heavy with the knowledge that this incident would only fuel the fires of anti-human sentiment. But as he turned back to assess the damage, a nagging suspicion took root in his mind. The surge had been too perfectly timed, too catastrophic to be a mere accident. "Marcus," he called to the miner who had joined the research team, "I need you to go over every inch of this facility. Look for anything out of place, any sign of tampering." As Marcus nodded and set off, Ymir approached Justin, her face grim. "This is bad, Justin. The conservative factions are already calling for all humans to be expelled from Ferenginar. We need to find out what really happened here, and fast." Justin met her gaze, feeling the weight of responsibility on his shoulders. "Agreed, and I have a feeling we're going to uncover something much bigger than a simple accident. Whatever's going on here, Ymir, we're going to get to the bottom of it." As they set out to investigate, neither Justin nor Ymir could shake the feeling that they were stepping into a conspiracy that ran deeper than they could imagine, one that threatened not just the Stellarium project, but the future of human-Ferengi relations itself. Justin wasted no time in assembling a joint human-Ferengi task force to track down Diamond Bach and neutralize the Stellarium threat. He handpicked a diverse team, including Marcus, the seasoned human miner whose expertise had been invaluable throughout their Ferenginar operations. and Emir, whose deep understanding of Ferengi society and culture would prove crucial in navigating the complex political landscape. The team set up a temporary command center in a secure wing of the damaged research facility. Holographic displays flickered to life, showcasing known associates and properties linked to Bach across the Ferengi homeworld. Justin stood before the assembled group, his voice steady as he outlined their mission. Our priority is to locate Bach and secure any stellarium samples he may have acquired. We'll start by investigating his known haunts and business fronts. Remember, we're dealing with a dangerous individual who's not afraid to take risks. Stay alert and trust your instincts. As the task force fanned out across Ferenginar, Justin found himself working closely with Emir. Her insights into Ferengi social structures and business practices proved invaluable as they pieced together Bach's movements. Justin couldn't help but admire her sharp intellect and unwavering focus, even as he reminded himself of the cultural chasm between them. Their breakthrough came on the 5th day of the investigation. Marcus, leading a team through an abandoned mining complex on the outskirts of the capital, stumbled upon a hidden entrance. "Mr. Hall," his voice crackled over the comm, "we found something. You're going to want to see this." Justin and Emir arrived at the site within the hour. The entrance led to a sophisticated underground laboratory, its walls lined with humming equipment and glowing stellarium samples. But it was the ominous energy readings that immediately caught their attention. "These levels are off the charts," Marcus muttered, his eyes wide as he studied a nearby console. "If we don't stabilize this soon, we're looking at a potential catastrophe." Justin's mind raced as he assessed the situation. "Emir, I need you to coordinate with the Ferengi members of our team. Your technical expertise combined with their knowledge of local systems might be our best shot at containing this." For the next several hours, the lab buzzed with activity as human and Ferengi scientists worked side by side. Justin moved between stations, offering encouragement and making split-second decisions when needed. Slowly but surely, the energy readings began to stabilize. As the immediate danger passed, Marcus approached Justin with a datapad. "Sir, we've managed to extract some information from their systems. It looks like Bach's set up another operation off-world. Coordinates point to an asteroid belt in the Barzan sector." Justin's teeth gritted as he processed this new information. He turned to Emir, who had just finished conferring with a group of Ferengi engineers. "We need to move fast. Bach's got a head start, and there's no telling what kind of damage he could do with weaponized stellarium." Emir nodded, her eyes gleaming with willpower. "I know a few pilots who owe me favors. We can have a ship ready within the hour." As they prepared for departure, Justin selected a small team to accompany them, including Marcus and a handful of their most trusted operatives. The Ferengi vessel they commandeered was sleek and well-equipped, its systems a blend of familiar and alien technology that Justin found both fascinating and slightly unnerving. The journey to the asteroid belt was tense, filled with strategy sessions and weapons training. Justin spent much of his time in the ship's small gym, pushing his enhanced body to its limits in preparation for the challenges ahead. During one such session, he found Emir observing him from the doorway. "Your physical capabilities are impressive," she remarked, her tone a mix of curiosity and admiration. "I've never seen a human move quite like that." Justin paused, wiping sweat from his brow. "It's part of why I was chosen for this mission, but I've learned that strength alone isn't enough out here. Your insights have been just as valuable." Emir smiled, a rare expression that transformed her features. "Perhaps we make a good team, human and Ferengi." As they approached the asteroid belt, the ship's sensors came alive with activity. The belt was a hive of questionable enterprises and black market trade, its twisting passages hiding countless secrets. Justin gathered the team for a final briefing. "We'll dock at one of the larger trading hubs and gather intel," he explained, highlighting a section of the holographic map. "Stay alert and stick to your cover stories. We don't know who might be working with Bach." The docking procedure was tense, but uneventful. As they stepped out onto the bustling trading station, Justin was struck by the cacophony of sights, sounds, and smells. Beings from dozens of species haggled over goods of dubious origin, while heavily armed security personnel kept a watchful eye on the proceedings. Justin and Emir took point, with Marcus and the others spreading out to gather information. They moved from stall to stall, Ymir's expert bargaining providing the perfect cover for their probing questions. It was in a dimly lit tavern that they finally caught a break. A Nausicaan smuggler, loosened by several glasses of potent alcohol, boasted of a recent deal with a Ferengi willing to pay top price for discreet transport to one of the belt's larger asteroids. The description matched Bach perfectly. As they made their way back to the rendezvous point, a group of rough-looking mercenaries blocked their path. Their leader, a scarred Orion, leered at Ymir. "Well, well, a Ferengi female, far from home. Why don't you ditch the human and come have some real fun?" Justin tensed, ready for a fight, but Ymir stepped forward, her voice cold and commanding. "I suggest you reconsider your offer. My business here is my own, and I assure you, it's far more profitable than anything you could provide." The Orion's face darkened, and he reached for his weapon. In that instant, Justin sprung into action. The low gravity of the asteroid gave him an added advantage as he launched himself at the mercenaries. His enhanced strength and reflexes allowed him to disarm the first two before they could even react. Ymir, to Justin's surprise and admiration, held her own against one of the attackers. Her movements were precise and effective, using the mercenaries' size against him in the low-gravity environment. As quickly as it had begun, the skirmish was over. The mercenaries lay groaning on the ground while Justin and Ymir stood back to back, breathing heavily but unharmed. "Impressive," Justin said, a new respect in his voice. Ymir's eyes glinted with a mix of excitement and pride. "There's a lot you don't know about Ferengi females, Justin Hall." With the immediate threat neutralized, they regrouped with Marcus and the others. Armed with the information they had gathered, they set course for the asteroid that housed Bach's secret base. As they approached their target, Justin gazed out at the star-studded expanse of space. He knew that the real challenge lay ahead, confronting Bach, securing the stellarium, and ensuring the safety of countless lives across multiple worlds. The weight of responsibility settled on his shoulders. But as he looked at his diverse team, human and Ferengi working together towards a common goal, he felt a glimmer of hope for the future. The asteroid loomed before them, its cratered surface hiding untold dangers. Justin took a deep breath, steeling himself for the mission ahead. "All right, team, let's end this." "This?" Justin's voice was steady as he addressed his team. "We're about to enter Bach's stronghold. Stay alert and stick to the plan." As they approached the asteroid's surface, the true scale of Bach's operation became apparent. A sprawling complex of interconnected domes and structures spread across the rocky terrain, protected by shimmering force fields. "Marcus, can you find us a way in?" Justin asked, studying the facility's defenses. The miner's fingers flew across the sensor controls. "There's a weak spot in the shield grid near the southern quadrant. If we time it right, we can slip through during a fluctuation cycle." Justin nodded. "Good work. Ymir, take us in?" The Ferengi woman's hands moved with practiced precision over the ship's controls, guiding them through the treacherous asteroid field. As they neared the facility, alarms blared throughout the ship. "Multiple contacts," Marcus shouted. "Looks like Bach's got a welcoming committee." A swarm of small, agile fighter craft emerged from concealed hangars, their weapons charging as they raced toward the intruders. Justin gripped the arms of his chair, his enhanced reflexes allowing him to track each incoming threat. "Evasive maneuvers," he ordered. "Ymir, get us to that shield gap. Marcus, return fire only if absolutely necessary. We don't want to risk damaging the stellarium stockpile." The ship lurched and spun as Ymir expertly wove through the asteroid field, using the floating rocks as cover against the pursuing fighters. Justin felt his stomach lurch as they narrowly avoided a collision, the ship's hull scraping against a jagged protrusion. "Shield gap coming up in 10 seconds, Marcus called out. Justin leaned forward. "Everyone brace for impact. This is going to be close." The ship shuddered as it passed through the fluctuating energy field, alarms screaming as systems overloaded. For a heart-stopping moment, it seemed they might be torn apart, but then they were through, the pursuing fighters unable to follow. "We're in," Ymir announced, her voice tight with tension. "But we've sustained damage to our propulsion systems. We won't be making a quick exit. Justin unbuckled his restraints. We'll deal with that later. Right now, we need to find Bach and secure that stellarium. Marcus, you're with me. Ymir, keep the ship ready for a fast takeoff if we need it. As Justin and Marcus made their way through the facility's winding corridors, they encountered surprisingly little resistance. The eerie quiet set Justin's nerves on edge. I don't like this, Marcus muttered. It feels like a trap. Justin nodded grimly. Stay sharp. Bach's clever, but he's also greedy. He won't risk destroying the stellarium, which gives us an advantage. They rounded a corner and found themselves in a vast chamber filled with humming machinery. At its center stood a containment unit glowing with an otherworldly light, the stellarium. Well, well, a voice echoed through the chamber. I must admit, I'm impressed you made it this far. Diamond Bach stepped out from behind a bank of computers, a smug grin on his face, and a disruptor pointed at Justin's chest. I'm afraid your little adventure ends here, Mr. Hall, Bach continued. You've been a thorn in my side for far too long. Justin's mind raced, assessing the situation. He could likely dodge Bach's shot, but that would leave Marcus exposed. Before he could act, the facility rocked with a massive explosion. Alarms blared as Ymir's voice came through Justin's communicator. Justin, we've got company. Multiple ships just dropped out of warp. They're attacking the asteroid. Bach's eyes widened in panic. No, it's too soon. Taking advantage of the distraction, Justin lunged forward, knocking the disruptor from Bach's hand. The two grappled, tumbling to the floor as Marcus rushed to secure the stellarium. What have you done, Bach? Justin demanded, pinning the Ferengi down. Bach laughed bitterly. You fool, did you think I was working alone? There are forces at play here beyond your comprehension. Another explosion rocked the facility, and Justin realized they were running out of time. He hauled Bach to his feet. Marcus, grab the stellarium. We're leaving. As they raced back to the ship, dodging falling debris and panicked workers, Justin's mind whirled with the implications of Bach's words. Who else was involved? And what were their true motives? They reached the ship to find Ymir already warming up the engines. We've got a problem, she announced as they boarded. Our propulsion system is barely functional. We'll be sitting ducks out there. Justin secured Bach in the ship's small brig before joining Ymir at the controls. We don't have a choice. We need to get this stellarium sample back to Ferenginar. As the ship limped out of the disintegrating asteroid base, Justin got his first look at their new adversaries. A motley fleet of pirate vessels swarmed around the asteroid, their weapons carving chunks out of the rocky surface. They're after the stellarium, Justin realized. Bach must have let slip about its value. Marcus called out from the sensor station. Multiple ships on an intercept course. Our shields won't hold against that kind of firepower. Justin's mind raced, weighing their options. They couldn't outrun the pirates, and fighting was out of the question. Then, an idea struck him. Ymir, set a course for the densest part of the asteroid field, he ordered. Marcus, prepare to jettison our garbage and any non-essential materials on my mark. As the pirate ships closed in, Justin put his plan into action. The ship dove into a chaotic swarm of tumbling rocks, with Ymir's expert piloting keeping them just ahead of their pursuers. On Justin's command, Marcus released a cloud of debris behind them. The effect was immediate. The local sensors of the pirate ships, already struggling with the asteroid field, were overwhelmed by the sudden influx of small, fast-moving objects. Several ships collided with asteroids or each other, creating even more chaos. It worked, Marcus exclaimed. They're breaking off pursuit. Justin allowed himself a small smile of relief, but he knew they weren't out of danger yet. Good work, everyone. Now let's get back to Ferenginar before... His words were cut off as the ship's sensors screamed a warning. A massive energy surge erupted from the remains of Bach's asteroid base, sending a shockwave racing toward them. Brace for impact, Justin yelled, but it was too late. The wave slammed into their ship, sending it tumbling end over end through space. Emergency systems flared to life as the main power failed, leaving them drifting helplessly in the void. As the backup lights flickered on, Justin took stock of their situation. The ship was badly damaged, but the crew seemed relatively unharmed. Most worryingly, the Stellarium containment unit was flashing warnings of imminent breach. "Status report," Justin called out, forcing calm into his voice. Marcus groaned as he picked himself up off the floor. "Main power's offline. Life support's on backups, but they won't last long. Engines are completely fried." Ymir added grimly, "Communications are down too. We're dead in space." Justin's mind raced, assessing their options. They had the Stellarium, but at what cost? Stranded in space with a potentially unstable energy source, pursued by pirates and cut off from all help. As he looked at his battered crew, Justin knew that getting out of this mess would require every ounce of skill, ingenuity, and grit they possessed. "All right," he said, standing up straight despite the ache in his enhanced muscles. "We're not beaten yet. Marcus, see what you can do about stabilizing that Stellarium. Ymir, work on getting our comms back online. I'll see if I can reroute any power to our engines." As his team set to work, Justin couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning of a much larger confrontation. Whatever forces were at play here, he was determined to uncover the truth and protect both Earth and Ferenginar from the dangers that lurked in the vastness of space. Space. The battered ship limped through the asteroid field, its hull creaking ominously with each maneuver. Justin gripped the control panel, his squeezing hard as he fought to keep them on course. "Ferenginar Orbital Control, this is Justin Hall. We're coming in hot with critical damage. Request immediate clearance and medical assistance," he barked into the comm system. Static crackled for a moment before a familiar voice responded. "Justin, this is Grint. You're cleared for emergency landing on Pad 7. What in the name of profit happened out there?" "Long story, Grint. We've got injured crew and sensitive cargo. Keep this quiet for now." As they entered Ferenginar's atmosphere, the ship shuddered violently. Warning klaxons blared throughout the cabin. Ymir's fingers danced across the navigation controls, compensating for their failing systems. "Justin, we're losing altitude control," she warned, her voice strained. "This landing's going to be rough." He nodded grimly. "Everyone, brace for impact." The ship slammed onto the landing pad, skidding across its surface in a shower of sparks. Emergency response teams swarmed the area as the hatch hissed open, releasing a cloud of acrid smoke. Justin stumbled out, supporting a dazed Marcus. Ymir followed, her arm wrapped protectively around the Stellarium containment unit. As medics rushed to tend to the injured, Justin found himself face-to-face with an irate Ferengi official. "Justin Hall," the Ferengi snarled, "Grand Nagus Zek demands your immediate presence at an emergency meeting of the Ferengi Commerce Authority." Justin's heart sank. He had hoped for at least a moment to catch his breath, but it seemed the political fallout of their mission was already beginning. He turned to Ymir, who nodded in understanding. "Go," she said softly. "I'll make sure the Stellarium is secured and our crew is taken care of." The journey to the Commerce Authority headquarters was a blur of winding streets and disapproving glares from passing Ferengi. Justin's mind raced, trying to formulate a plan to salvage the situation. As he entered the grand chamber, the cacophony of angry voices fell silent. Grand Nagus Zek sat atop his ornate throne, his wrinkled face twisted in a scowl. "Justin Hall," he bellowed, "you stand before us to answer for the loss of the Stellarium and the potential profits it represented. What do you have to say for yourself?" Justin took a deep breath, squaring his shoulders. "Grand Nagus, esteemed members of the Commerce Authority, I understand your anger. The loss of the Stellarium is indeed a setback, but I believe I have a proposal that will more than make up for it." A murmur of intrigue rippled through the assembled Ferengi. Zek leaned forward, his interest piqued. "Go on." "I propose a joint human-Ferengi space exploration program," Justin announced. "By combining human adaptability with Ferengi resource management skills, we can explore uncharted regions of the galaxy, opening up new economic opportunities for both our species." The chamber erupted in a mixture of outrage and excitement. Zek raised his hand for silence. "And why should we trust humans with such an endeavor? What guarantee of profit do we have?" Justin allowed himself a small smile. "Because, Grand Nagus, human space agencies have detected signs of valuable resources in a nearby, unexplored star system. With our combined efforts, we could efficiently survey and exploit these resources, yielding profits that would dwarf those lost with the stellarium. The room fell silent as the Ferengi digested this information. Zek's eyes gleamed with the possibility of unprecedented profit. After a long moment, he spoke. "Your proposal is intriguing, Justin Hall. But how do we ensure our interests are protected?" "I suggest we appoint a Ferengi liaison for the project," Justin replied. "Someone with experience working with humans, who understands both our cultures. I nominate Ymir for this position." Zek nodded thoughtfully. "Ymir has proven her worth in recent dealings. Very well, we will cautiously approve this joint venture. But know this, Justin Hall, the success or failure of this mission will determine the future of human-Ferengi relations." As Justin left the chamber, he felt a mix of relief and apprehension. He had averted immediate disaster, but the real challenges were just beginning. He found Ymir waiting for him outside, her face etched with concern. "How did it go?" she asked. Justin filled her in on the meeting's outcome as they walked. "We've got a lot of work ahead of us," he concluded. "We need to start assembling a crew and preparing for the expedition." Ymir nodded, her expression thoughtful. "This won't be easy, Justin. There will be resistance on both sides." As if to prove her point, Justin's communicator chirped. It was a message from Earth's government expressing grave concerns about the extent of Ferengi involvement in human space exploration. Justin sighed, realizing he would need to carefully balance Earth's interest with the fragile alliance he had built. Over the next weeks, Justin and Ymir worked tirelessly to bring their vision to life. They drafted safeguards and mutual oversight protocols to address concerns from both species. They interviewed potential crew members, seeking individuals who could bridge the cultural divide. As they collaborated, Justin found himself drawn to Ymir in ways he hadn't expected. Her intelligence, perseverance, and subtle humor challenged him, pushing him to be better. He noticed the way her eyes lit up when discussing the potential discoveries that lay ahead, the gentle brush of her hand against his as they pored over star charts late into the night. One evening, as they worked alone in their makeshift office, the tension between them finally boiled over. Justin's hand lingered on Ymir's as he pointed out a potential route on a holomap. Their eyes met, and for a moment, the rest of the galaxy seemed to fade away. Justin leaned in, his heart pounding, and their lips met in a tentative kiss. The moment was shattered by an urgent alert on Justin's communicator. They sprang apart, both flushed and breathing heavily. Justin checked the message, his expression darkening. "What is it?" Ymir asked, her voice husky. "Diamond Bach has escaped custody," Justin replied grimly. "He's in the wind, and he's vowed to sabotage our project." Ymir's eyes widened. "We need to increase security immediately. If word of this gets out, it could derail everything we've worked for." Justin nodded, already typing out orders. "Agreed. We'll need to vet everyone involved in the project again, quietly. We can't risk panic or suspicion spreading through the crew." As the launch date approached, tension mounted. The newly constructed spaceport on Ferenginar buzzed with activity as final preparations were made. The lid ship, christened Unity, stood proudly on the launch pad, a symbol of the unprecedented cooperation between humans and Ferengi. On the morning of the launch, Justin and Ymir stood before their assembled crew in Unity's main briefing room. The air was thick with anticipation and nervous energy. "Today we embark on a journey that will shape the future of both our species," Justin began. "Each of you has been chosen for your skills, your adaptability, and your willingness to bridge the gap between our cultures. The challenges ahead will test us all, but I have faith that together we can overcome anything the galaxy throws at us." Ymir stepped forward. "Remember, our strength lies in our diversity. Human ingenuity combined with Ferengi business acumen will open up opportunities beyond our wildest dreams. Now, let's make history and profit." A cheer went up from the assembled crew. As they dispersed to their stations, Justin and Ymir shared a private smile, their earlier moment of intimacy unspoken but not forgotten. The launch countdown began, tension mounting with each passing second. Justin and Ymir took their positions on the bridge, surrounded by a mix of human and Ferengi officers. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the ship. A frantic voice came over the comm system. Security breach detected in engineering. Possible sabotage attempt. Justin's blood ran cold. He locked eyes with Emir, both realizing the same thing. Bach had made his move. All hands, this is Captain Hall, Justin announced, his voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through him. We have a potential security threat on board. Remain at your stations and report any suspicious activity immediately. As security teams rushed to investigate, Justin and Emir faced the grim reality of their situation. The threat they had feared had materialized at the worst possible moment. Now, with the eyes of two worlds upon them and the future of human-Ferengi relations hanging in the balance, they had to root out the saboteur and salvage their mission before it was too late. The Unity hung suspended on the launch pad, its engines primed but silent as chaos erupted within. Justin and Emir stood at the center of the storm, their grit tested as never before. The true test of their leadership and their growing bond was about to begin. The tension on the bridge was palpable as Justin and Emir coordinated the security response. Officers hurried to their stations, fingers flying over control panels as they initiated emergency protocols. Engineering, report, Justin barked into the comm. A static-filled voice replied, Captain, we've detected an unauthorized access attempt in the main reactor core. Security teams are en route. Justin exchanged a grim look with Emir. We need to get down there. Ensign Kroll, you have the bridge. As they rushed through the corridors, the ship's launch countdown continued to echo through the speakers. Time was running out. They reached engineering just as the security team cornered a hooded figure near the reactor controls. The intruder spun around, revealing a face Justin knew all too well. Bach, he growled. The Ferengi's lips curled into a sneer. You've ruined everything, Hall. This alliance is an abomination. Before anyone could react, Bach slammed his hand down on a concealed device. Alarms blared as the reactor core began to destabilize. Override the reactor shutdown, Justin shouted to the engineering team. He lunged at Bach, tackling him to the ground. As they grappled, Emir's voice cut through the chaos. Justin, we have less than 2 minutes before total core meltdown. With a final punch that left Bach dazed, Justin sprang to his feet and raced to the control panel. His fingers flew over the interface, bypassing safety protocols and rerouting power. 30 seconds, Emir called out, her voice strained. Justin's mind raced, recalling every bit of training and experience. With a final command sequence, he held his breath and hit the execute button. The alarms fell silent. The reactor core pulsed once, twice, then stabilized. A cheer went up from the crew. Justin sagged against the console, relief washing over him. Emir appeared at his side, her hand on his shoulder. We did it, she said softly. Justin nodded, then straightened up. Security, take Bach to the brig. We'll deal with him later. As Bach was led away, Justin turned to address the crew. Everyone, back to your stations. We have a launch to complete. The return to the bridge was a blur of activity and last-minute checks. As Justin settled into the captain's chair, he felt the weight of two worlds on his shoulders. All systems go, Captain, Emir reported from her station. Justin took a deep breath. Initiate launch sequence. The Unity's engines roared to life, pushing against Ferenginar's gravity. The ship lifted off the pad, climbing higher into the atmosphere. As they broke free of the planet's pull, a sense of awe settled over the bridge. We've done it, Justin said quietly. We're on our way. The next few days passed in a flurry of activity as the crew settled into their routines and the Unity ventured deeper into uncharted space. Justin found himself working closely with Emir, their earlier moment of intimacy unspoken but not forgotten. On the 5th day of their journey, as Justin was reviewing sensor logs in his ready room, Emir burst in without announcing herself. Justin, you need to see this, she said, her eyes wide with excitement. He followed her to the bridge, where a holographic display showed a swirling mass of energy. What am I looking at? Justin asked. A gravitational anomaly unlike anything we've ever seen, Emir explained. It's in a nearby star system, just at the edge of our sensor range. Justin studied the display, his mind racing with possibilities. This could be the discovery they needed to prove the value of their joint expedition. "Helm, set a course for the anomaly," he ordered. "Let's see what we're dealing with." As they approached the star system, the true nature of the anomaly became clear. A massive asteroid field stretched before them, its rocks composed of an unknown material that played havoc with their sensors. "Visual navigation only," Justin announced, taking manual control of the helm. "Ymir, keep an eye on those sensor readings. If anything changes, I want to know immediately." The Unity crept forward, Justin's hands steady on the controls as he guided them through the treacherous field. The bridge was silent save for the occasional update from Ymir. Suddenly, Ymir's voice cut through the tension. "Justin, I'm detecting movement. It's not consistent with normal asteroid behavior." Before Justin could respond, several asteroids seemed to shimmer and transform. In their place appeared sleek, alien vessels that quickly surrounded the Unity. "All stop," Justin ordered, his mind racing. "Open a channel. Let's try to talk our way out of this." But before he could utter a word of greeting, a wave of energy washed over the ship. Consoles sparked and went dark as the Unity's main systems failed. "Report!" Justin called out as emergency lighting flickered on. "We've been hit with some kind of electromagnetic pulse," Ymir replied, her fingers dancing over her darkened console. "Main power is offline, including engines and weapons." Justin's mind raced, assessing their options. They were powerless, surrounded by an unknown alien force, and drifting in a dangerous asteroid field. "All right, listen up," he announced, standing to address the bridge crew. "We need to get main power back online. I'll lead a team to manually restart the core systems. Ymir, you're in charge of restoring communications. The rest of you focus on damage control and keeping us from drifting into these asteroids." As the crew sprang into action, Justin caught Ymir's eye. In that brief moment, he saw a mix of willpower and trust that bolstered his drive. "Be careful down there," she said softly. Justin nodded. "You too. We're going to get through this." As he led his team towards engineering, Justin could feel the Unity shudder. Something was attaching itself to the hull. The aliens were boarding. They reached engineering to find it in chaos. Crew members were struggling to restart systems in the low gravity caused by the power loss. "Listen up," Justin called out. "We need to get the main reactor online. Fethar, Grax, you're with me on the manual startup sequence. Everyone else, prepare for intruders. Use whatever you can as a weapon." As they worked, the sound of metal scraping against metal echoed through the ship. The aliens were cutting their way in. Justin's muscles strained as he manually engaged the reactor's startup sequence. Sweat beaded on his forehead, floating off in small droplets in the zero-gravity environment. Suddenly, his communicator crackled to life. Ymir's voice came through, tense but clear. "Justin, we've partially restored internal comms. The aliens are through the hull in sections 5 and 8. Security teams are engaging, but we're outmatched." "Understood," Justin replied, his hands never stopping their work. "We're almost there with the reactor. Hold them off as long as you can." Just as the reactor hummed back to life, the engineering bay doors burst open. Alien figures, their forms obscured by strange, shimmering suits, poured into the room. Justin grabbed a nearby pipe, wielding it like a staff. "Defend the reactor!" he shouted, launching himself at the nearest intruder. The battle was chaotic, a blur of movement in the low gravity. Justin's combat training kicked in as he fought off the aliens, his human reflexes and strength giving him an edge. Through his communicator, he could hear similar battles raging throughout the ship. Ymir's voice cut through the chaos, directing crew members and reporting on the aliens' movements. As Justin fought, he realized they needed a game-changer. They couldn't keep this up forever. "Ymir," he called into his comm between swings of his makeshift weapon. "We need a plan. Any weaknesses you've noticed in their tech?" There was a moment of silence filled only by the sounds of struggle. Then Ymir's voice returned, excitement evident despite the strain. "Their suits, they're reacting to our comm signals. If we could boost the output, maybe we could disrupt their systems." Justin's mind raced, formulating a plan. "Marcus!" he shouted, spotting the engineer across the room. "Can you modify our comm array to emit a high-powered EM pulse?" Marcus nodded, already moving towards a control panel. Give me 5 minutes. You've got 2, Justin replied, fending off another alien attacker. The next 120 seconds were the longest of Justin's life. He fought with everything he had, buying time for Marcus to work his magic. Just as Justin felt his strength beginning to wane, Marcus's voice rang out. It's ready. Do it, Justin shouted. A high-pitched whine filled the air, building to a crescendo. The alien attackers stumbled, their movements becoming erratic. Suddenly they began to retreat, clambering back through the holes they'd cut in the hull. Justin sagged against a console, exhausted but relieved. Ymir, he called into his comm. Status report. The aliens are retreating, she replied, her voice filled with a mixture of relief and incredulity. Whatever you did, it worked. They're disengaging from our hull and falling back. A cheer went up from the crew and engineering. Justin allowed himself a small smile before straightening up. Good work, everyone, he said, but we're not out of the woods yet. Let's get this ship fully operational and ready to move. As the crew set about repairing systems and sealing hull breaches, Justin made his way to the bridge. He found Ymir there, her hair disheveled, but her eyes bright with triumph. You did it, she said as he approached. Justin shook his head. We did it, all of us together. Their eyes met, and for a moment the rest of the bridge seemed to fade away. The shared triumph, the lingering adrenaline, the unspoken connection between them. It all hung in the air, electric and undeniable. But the moment was broken by a beep from the sensor station. A young Ferengi officer called out, Captain, you're going to want to see this. Justin and Ymir moved to the station, their professional masks slipping back into place. On the screen, data scrolled by, showing readings from the asteroid field. Is this correct? Justin asked, his eyes widening as he read the results. The officer nodded. Yes, sir. The asteroids contain significant quantities of an extremely rare and valuable element. Justin's mind raced. This discovery could be the key to proving the value of their joint expedition. But it also presented a significant risk. The alien presence was still a threat, and staying to investigate further could put the entire mission in jeopardy. He looked around the bridge, noting the mixture of excitement and apprehension on the faces of his human and Ferengi crew members. He could already see the division forming, the Ferengi eager to secure the valuable resource, the humans more cautious and curious about the alien encounter. Justin turned to Ymir, seeing his own conflicted thoughts mirrored in her eyes. They had a decision to make, one that would shape the future of their mission and potentially alter the course of human-Ferengi relations. As the disabled alien ships drifted in the distance and the resource-rich asteroid field beckoned, Justin took a deep breath. Whatever he decided, he knew it would be only the beginning of the challenges that lay ahead for the Unity and its crew. Crew members. Justin took a deep breath, centering himself before speaking. We have an unprecedented opportunity before us, he began, his voice calm but filled with purpose. This asteroid field represents not just a valuable resource, but a chance for first contact with an unknown species. Our mission has always been about exploration and discovery as much as resource acquisition. I believe we can achieve both objectives. Justin turned to his science officer. What's our current status? Main power is restored, and we've sealed the hull breaches, the officer reported. Weapons and shields are at 80% capacity. Justin nodded, then addressed the bridge crew. Here's the plan. We'll maintain our position at the edge of the asteroid field. I want a small team ready to attempt communication with the alien species. Ymir, Marcus, you're with me on this. As the crew bustled into action, Justin pulled Ymir aside. Your insights were crucial in repelling the aliens. I need your expertise to help establish contact. Ymir's eyes lit up with excitement. I've been analyzing their retreat patterns. I believe we can use that data to create a non-threatening approach. Over the next few hours, Justin, Ymir, and Marcus worked tirelessly in the communications lab. They crafted a series of mathematical sequences and simple pictograms, hoping to establish a common language with the aliens. Ready to broadcast, Marcus announced, his fingers poised over the controls. Justin nodded. Send it. The message streamed out into space, a beacon of peace and curiosity. The bridge fell silent as they waited for a response. Minutes stretched into hours, the tension palpable. Suddenly, Ymir's console lit up. "We're receiving a signal." The alien vessels had responded with their own series of signals. Justin and Ymir huddled over the data, their shoulders brushing as they worked to decipher the alien language. "Look at this pattern," Ymir said, pointing to a recurring sequence. "It's similar to how Ferengi represent prime numbers." Justin nodded, impressed by her insight. "Good catch. Let's use that as a starting point." As they worked, Justin found himself increasingly aware of Ymir's presence. Her intelligence and dedication were captivating, their different perspectives meshing in perfect synchronicity. After hours of intense work, a breakthrough came. The aliens, calling themselves the Zarthax, agreed to a face-to-face meeting on a neutral asteroid. Justin assembled a small delegation, with Ymir at his side as advisor and interpreter. As they boarded the shuttle, he caught her eye. "Ready for this?" She nodded, a mix of excitement and perseverance in her gaze. "Let's make history." The shuttle touched down on the designated asteroid. Justin led the way, his heart pounding with anticipation. As they rounded a rocky outcropping, they came face to face with the Zarthax. The aliens were insectoid in appearance, with iridescent exoskeletons and multiple compound eyes. Despite their alien nature, Justin could sense their wariness. "Greetings," Justin said, Ymir translating his words into the rudimentary language they had established. "We come in peace and friendship." The lead Zarthax stepped forward, its mandibles clicking as it spoke. Ymir listened intently, then turned to Justin. "They say they've been hiding in this asteroid field for centuries, fleeing from an ancient enemy that nearly destroyed their civilization." Justin nodded, his mind racing with the implications. He addressed the Zarthax again, Ymir translating. "We understand the need for caution. Our own species have only recently overcome our differences to work together. We believe that cooperation and diversity make us stronger." The Zarthax seemed intrigued by this. Their leader asked a series of questions about human and Ferengi society, which Justin answered with diplomatic skill. He could see Ymir adding cultural context to his words, bridging the gap between their species. As the conversation progressed, an idea began to form in Justin's mind. He turned to the Zarthax leader. "What if we were to propose an alliance? Human adaptability, Ferengi business acumen, and Zarthax technology could create a formidable partnership." The Zarthax chittered among themselves, clearly surprised by the offer. Their leader stepped forward again. "Your unity is unexpected," Ymir translated. "We have observed many species, but few who work together as you do. We will consider your proposal." As they returned to the Unity, Justin felt a surge of hope. In the shuttle, he found himself alone with Ymir, the rest of the delegation engrossed in discussions about the meeting. "We did it," he said softly, meeting her eyes. Ymir smiled, her hand brushing against his. "We make a good team." The moment stretched between them, filled with unspoken emotions. Justin leaned in, drawn by an irresistible force. Their lips met in a passionate kiss, years of cultural differences and personal growth culminating in this single, perfect moment. When they parted, both were breathless. "We should keep this private for now," Ymir whispered, "until we're back on Ferenginar." Justin nodded, understanding the complexities of their situation. "Agreed. For now, let's focus on our mission." The Unity's return to Ferenginar was met with a hero's welcome. Justin and Ymir stood side by side as they presented their report to a joint assembly of Ferengi and human leaders. Grand Nagus Zek leaned forward on his throne, his eyes gleaming with interest. "A three-way alliance, you say? With a species possessing advanced technology?" "Yes, Grand Nagus," Justin confirmed. "The Zarthax have expressed interest in our proposal. With your approval, we believe this could open up unprecedented opportunities for all our peoples." The assembly erupted into excited chatter. Earth's representatives, while more reserved, also showed clear interest in the potential of this new alliance. As the meeting concluded, Grand Nagus Zek approached Justin and Ymir. "You've done well," he said, his tone unusually serious. "This alliance could change the face of the quadrant. I'm appointing you both to head a new joint council to oversee its development. Justin and Emir exchanged glances, surprised and honored by the appointment. We accept, Grand Nagus, Justin said. We'll do our best to ensure the success of this venture. Later that evening, Justin and Emir stood on a balcony overlooking the Ferengi capital. The spaceport below was bustling with activity as ships from all three species docked and departed. Look at that, Justin said, gesturing to the diverse crowd below. A year ago, this would have been unimaginable. Emir leaned against him, her hand finding his. We've come a long way since our first meeting, she said, a hint of amusement in her voice. Justin chuckled, remembering his initial awkwardness around her. We certainly have, and I have a feeling our greatest adventures are still ahead of us. As if on cue, a sleek new ship caught their eye. Its design was unlike anything they had seen before, a perfect blend of human, Ferengi, and Zarthax engineering. That's our new vessel, Emir said, her eyes sparkling with excitement. The first of its kind, ready to take it for a spin, Captain? Justin grinned, squeezing her hand. With you by my side? Always. They made their way to the spaceport, the promise of new horizons filling them with anticipation. As they boarded the ship, Justin couldn't help but marvel at how far they'd come, and how much further they had yet to go. The ship's engines hummed to life, a symphony of three cultures working in harmony. As they prepared for launch, Justin took one last look at Emir, his partner in every sense of the word. Ready for our next adventure? He asked. Emir's smile was all the answer he needed. Together, they guided the ship out of the spaceport and into the starry expanse beyond, carrying with them the hopes and dreams of three united species and the promise of a brighter future for all.
You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.